Make this a wonderful Christmas. That would make your father so happy.
I promise. What had I done? And now it was all up to me?
I suggest you start drinking and don't stop till New Year's.
My vision would turn your world upside down, tear us under your illusions, and send the sanctuary of your own ignorance crashing down around you. Now ask yourself, are you really ready to see that vision?
Welcome back. And with it being that time of the year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Feliz Navidad, all that kind of good stuff. So this is where I go ahead and actually review all the new holiday movies that are premiering on our streaming services, and even some holiday series that'll be starting in 2022. So that's what I'm here to go and actually do. If you like how that sounds, click like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. As you can see, I go and actually have my shirt, and yes, okay, so don't trip. Okay, yeah, it's a little snug. Bought it when I was a little bit lighter on my feet on here, but Pink Nightmare, Ralphie, and that's what we're looking to go and actually review today. A Christmas Story Christmas on HBO. Now this premiered on November 17th with a 90-minute runtime. So, A Christmas Story Christmas, it follows a now adult Ralphie as he returns to the house on Cleveland Street to give his kids a magical Christmas like the one he had as a child, reconnecting with his childhood friends and reconciling the passing of his old man. So that's what we have for the storyline for A Christmas Story Christmas. So, off top, being honest with you, it's a favorite of mine. It's in my top 3 to 5 classic Christmas movies that I have to watch every single year. So I'm a little bit biased, but I can go ahead and actually review this from the mindset of someone who has either not watched it or is not a fan of the original, and then also people that are fans of the original or are big Christmas buffs, right? So those are the two different audiences I'm going to evaluate this movie for and see if it's worth your time. So I saw the trailers, right? And the trailers, for me, it looked like it was going to be a cheesy reboot. And you figure it's going to be like a cash grab or nostalgia trip that, they were going to go and actually prey upon those of us that had kind of grown up with it, Gen Xers, possibly millennials that had kind of grown up with it over the years, what have you, and see if we'll go and actually tune in for nostalgia value. So I didn't have a whole lot of hopes for it. The name recognition on this movie is very slim. Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie, is in it again. Now, his resume isn't like super busy, but he has been in front of and behind the camera throughout the years. So he's actually been active. He actually played a role in Elf with Will Ferrell. He was in that. And he's been in some other things, again, in front of and behind the camera. Erin Hayes plays his wife Sandy. Now, her biggest project has been a reoccurring character on The Goldbergs. So I know that's a popular series on ABC. It's been going for several years. I've never watched it, but obviously, if she has a reoccurring character, she knows how to act within a comedy series, right? The only other name that you can really go ahead and actually grab onto is a veteran, Julia Haggerty. She's the on-screen comedy, veteran in this realm. She's cast to play Ralphie's mother. Now, some people might want to go ahead and actually wonder why didn't they bring back Melinda Dillon to play Ralphie's mother? If we're going to go ahead and actually do a time jump, which we do roughly a time jump, roughly about uh, 20 to 30 years from the events of the first film. But her last role was in 2007. And while she's still around, she's still kicking and all that kind of good stuff, they probably wanted someone who has had more active practice and been in a role more recently. Julie Haggerty has never gone away from film. She's been actively acting in all kinds of different projects. She's not only famous for her roles in the Airplane franchise series, but she's also had reoccurring roles on Law and Order SVU, as well as a lot of different other projects and being a voice actress and things like that. So she's active and ready to go. So those are your main recognition of people that are going to be in this film. All other characters in the film are either really young, as like Ralphie's kids or the kids of the neighborhood when they go back there, or you might actually have actors from the past, but they're from the original Christmas story. So characters that are playing Schwartz and Flick are here, and those are name recognitions, and there's some big characters throughout. So, in regards to the acting of the ensemble cast, the acting is so-so. I think Ralphie is the best, and that's because he slips right back into the role of Ralphie. He has that dynamic aspect of daydreaming. He's a wanderer in his adult life now. He has become a writer, right? So that whole thing of him writing a theme in the very first one kind of translates into the sequel. So he is a familiar character, and it works for that same daydreaming kid has grown up to be an adult, and it works for him. He's the heart of the movie, and he plays it pretty well. You can settle into that pretty well. I also like the young lady that played Ralphie's daughter, played by Julianne Lane. Uh, she has some scene stealing lines and appearances or what have you, and she's a kid to watch in the future. She has excellent comedic timing, and I just think that she's going to be, something to go and actually watch in the future. All the other actors are decent, nothing stand out or anything like that. But it's one where you can go and actually say, okay, I'm okay with that. Some of the actors are a bit cheese just because of the role that it is. And honestly, the first one was a little bit of cheese on the Christmas factor of it. So it's okay. But the acting works for this project because, again, it's in line with what we expected from the original. If you're someone that didn't like the original or is not a fan of kind of throwback, kind of over the top daydreaming or goofy little lines or what have you, the acting isn't going to be, it's not going to hit or resonate as well with you. The story of the film takes place, it kind of takes about a good like 10 minutes to get into. Like the first 10 minutes of the movie really kind of just you're kind of snoozing like, oh my goodness, I'm in for one. But once they travel to Indiana and go there to go and go home for Ralphie, that's when you start feeling like, okay, I'm breaking in new sneakers and now starting to feel comfortable, and we're going to be able to get this movie going or what have you. So the first 10 minutes, a little bit of a drag, but you kind of get past it once we start getting on the road and get to where the rest of the film is set. Now, just to kind of get a little bit more context as to what's happening here is that Ralphie is still a daydreamer, as I said before, and he's a struggling writer in Chicago, and he has kids now, and he has to come home for Christmas and commits to giving his kids the best kind of Christmas that he can go and actually remember from when he grew up, and really comes through hijinks, circumstances, and life that stuff just does not go according to plan because things get in the way, people get in the way, circumstances, and hilarity ensues. The other thing that to see with A Christmas Story Christmas is that we get some callbacks, some things like haggling over the price of a Christmas tree, going to visit Santa Claus, dealing with bullies, and there's some new tropes in here, or some new scenes that I won't spoil, but you'll know them when you see them. They're like instant, like, and that it'll crack you up. Either you will laugh heartily, or you will just like not find it funny because it's not your type of comedy. It's either or. But I will tell you that the Bumpus' hounds, they're still around. They go ahead and actually play a bit part. They're still around there, as well as a epic snowball fight, which actually is great. Inebriated sledding, drunk sledding, and of course, a new triple dog dare is in this film. Okay, so those are some scenes that you can kind of look forward to that are kind of callbacks to the original that will get you where you just go ahead and actually feel like, okay, Again, if I'm a fan of it, I dig it. And if you go ahead and actually like a little bit of cheese, it'll really hit you. The really where this movie hits home is the framing of the movie. Once it's revealed, it really makes it a well thought out sequel. It's written specifically for these characters, and it's a refreshing way to make the sequel not a desperate attempt at a cash grab or nostalgia value. It is, these are the writers, directors, producers, actors had one mission to go ahead and actually make this story relevant and make it a true sequel. And they accomplished that by tying it directly together and doing it in such a way that it makes sense. Okay. Now it's time for my verdict. What do I think of A Christmas Story Christmas for my mainstream viewers, casual viewers, viewers who may not be fans of the original, or you're just kind of like, I'm not a fan of Christmas movies. Is this something that I'm worth to watch? Um, if you've watched Christmas movies before, this isn't going to stand out as particularly great. I think it's a great lazy day Christmas movie that you could put on and be entertained by because there are a few laughs. It's family friendly, as most Christmas movies are. This one has some good tropes. Also, understand this is actually set, again, 20 to 30 years past the original. So the original one was set somewhere in the 40s or 50s. So now, flash forward now, they are living in the 70s. So you don't have to worry about, there's not going to be a whole lot of technological things of them doing. There's, obviously there's television and radio are going on and things like that. And there's some advancements, but it's still a harken back to throwback days and all that kind of good stuff. So kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at, okay, is it going to be entertainment for me? If you like period pieces or going back a little bit, this could also be something that works for you. However, if you're a fan of the sequel or you're a fan of Christmas movies in general, this is a must watch. The cheese factor is turned up before this, and it's the right way of having cheese on there because we're looking at characters that are already established and they grew a little bit older. And yeah, they're more of adults now, but there's still those characteristics that they developed as kids never quite went away. And that's okay because we went back into that world and it works for this one. The characters are good in their roles. There are definitely callbacks and memories that get you, that you'll just be like, got it, okay, like it. Um, and when you go ahead and actually really look at everything, it really works. There are a lot of new moments that you'll go ahead and actually crack up over. For me specifically, the ending of the snowball fight, I cracked up. I had to pause the movie because I was laughing for about a good minute straight because it just cracked me up just out of nowhere. Okay. But as I went and actually stated before, the ending of the movie, at the end of it, of framing everything at this real core, this is a love letter to Christmas gone by. Those Christmases of when you were a child and Christmas was so magical, of everything from the anticipation to talking with your friends at school about what you were going to get, and when you come home trying to be extra nice so that you can make sure that you get everything, to going to the malls and really just cheering up to see the mall decorations, or going to see Santa, um, all the snow days going leading into that, and then that magical Christmas morning when you wake up to your tree, and you open a bunch of gifts and you're spending time with family, you're spending a good meal, you got the toy that you want, and it's also the look of the adults that make those magical moments. Was as kids, we look at it as like, oh my goodness, it was so magical, but we don't know what our parents go through. And now that kid that had that magical Christmas is now the adult. And now they're trying to do the same thing for their kids and kind of realizing it's not, the process isn't magical, but the result can be if you want it to be. And so this is a good movie to hit home to you that Christmas means a lot of different things for people, but you know, all the different holidays that we have around this time of year, if we're looking for Christmas, save um, the religious aspect of it, just the inane thing of making it special for other people, giving to other people is what this was at the heart of this particular movie. And it's a sequel that was well done and well thought out. So that's my thoughts on A Christmas Story, Christmas on HBO Max is showing now. Go check it out. If you stay for this long, man, I appreciate you. Um, if you did, you might as well click like, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Um, and we're gonna go ahead and actually do this for all the holidays. As many holiday reviews as I can get out, I will try and do that for the rest of the season, going from Thanksgiving all the way through to Christmas. Give you a whole bunch of holiday stuff on there to see if anything's worth your time to tune into. But until that time, happy holidays to you and yours, and to my next review. Take care of yourself.